Macros have been a staple of Bee Swarm Simulator for years, so much so that the game's creator has even added an Easter egg referencing the standard of all macros, Natro Macro. It's easy to use, customizable, and it simply works. There's a reason their Discord servers got over 600,000 members. But recently there's been a new macro surfacing around that potentially could revolutionize everything: the Revolution Macro. While I won't get into the details of every setting available of both the macros, here's the main points I'll compare between the two softwares to declare the winner: honeymaking, vicious bee stingers, bugruns and quest farming, Stump snail, mondo chicken. Hardware usage, setup and system support. Let's begin from the bottom of the list. I'll be downloading both softwares from their Discord server, so this is Natro's invite link. I'll skip these for now. Now you'll get a DM from Block's link. Click the first link, press sign in. Authorize, select your profile, and Natro should pop up. Go back to Natro's Discord and verify with Block's link, and you've got access to the channel where you'll find the macro installation options, direct download, continue, wait for the file to transfer. Extract the zip, open this folder, again, and run the start.bat file. Time for Revolution. This is their Discord link, skip through these again. Click download Revolution. Unlike Natro, Revolution actually supports Mac devices. The instructions are provided here, but since I'm running Windows, I'll go to this site instead. Download the exe file. When it's finished, don't drag the software to desktop. Here's why. If you run it, and run anyway, you'll get this error: to not encounter this. Save the exe anywhere besides the desktop. For instance, I'll leave it in the downloads folder, and everything works. Now that both macros are installed, who scores the first point? To begin with, Natro's direct download from the server is convenient, but Revolution's support of Mac devices outweighs that. I'm actually curious, if you're on Mac and Macro, what alternative did you use before Revolution Macro? Anyways, farming is up, but since I don't have any buffs active, I'm actually going to test out Vicious Bee. I'll give both the macros 24 hours to see which one will get more stingers. Natro is up first. Here's my starting point. The Vicious Bee tab is broken. I believe it's because of Roblox's changes to how lighting works, meaning it will always detect nighttime. However, I don't want to give a score of 0 stingers for Natro, because maybe it has already been fixed when you're watching this. After browsing the Bee Swarm Discord, I found these messages mentioning the feature, so I'll give the average of all of these numbers. Time to test out the Revolution Macro. This one's got two options: server hop on and off. Having it off makes it so you kill vicious bees in the same server, just like Natro should do. On the other hand, server on allows the macro join other servers. I'll only try out this feature because this is what's been hyping up the macro, so I'll be back in 24 hours with the results. Results are up. It actually displays how many servers you hopped. If you had to guess what's the amount in 24 hours, what would it be? In fact, it's 3,660 servers, but how many of them do you assume had nighttime? 444, which is 12%. I don't have a clue what I should have expected, but now the most important part: how many of those nights actually had a vicious bee? 134, 30% of the nights and 3.6% of the total servers. This amounted to 405 stingers, which swept the board when compared to Natro. If you didn't know, people used to sell their own vicious hop macros and gatekeep them, so having this option to anyone is great. 2-0. Honeymaking is next because my buffs are now ready. Just kidding. Having Vic hop on completely sent me back to square one. So questing and mob runs it is. Tickets, gumdrops, dices, fruits and all the other items on screen are going to be tracked along with polar bear quests. I'm going to have every mob ticked on, and polar of course. The full 24 hours are over, but I won't show Natro's performance and set up Revolution instead. 48 hours of bug runs and polar bear are over. So here's what I got. It's a lot of numbers on the screen, so this is the difference in items. Generally it's the same amount everywhere, which is what I expected because you can't really optimize how quickly you defeat mobs when they have a cooldown. Polar quests are just RNG, so a slight difference doesn't mean anything. Perhaps I got 3 scorpion salads in a row and 3 trail mixes here, who knows. I believe that gumdrops, dice, pineapples, neon berries, and moon charms are different because of the amount each mob can drop. Now the only explanation for blue extracts, oils, and blueberries is planters. I did have the gather loot turned off, however token link exists. For this reason I'd argue that there are no items where one of the softwares outperformed the other one. Both macros get a point. It's finally time for farming. Think again. Because I forgot to harvest my planters and so I lost my nectar for the second time in this video. As a result, Stump Snail is up. For this I'll measure how long it will take for each software to kill it. I won't be adding any attack bees except a vicious bee and a demon mask, no consumables, and no gather interruptions. 2 hours and 25 minutes minus 2 15-minute farms, so an hour and 55 minutes. While this mob is sleeping and waiting for Revolution's turn, it's the perfect moment to do Mondo Chick. I won't even do a proper Mondo Chick test because I already know who's going to win. Revolution, because it has the ability to hop servers and we clearly saw how broken that was with vicious bees. Natro can only defeat a single Mondo Chick per hour, while Revolution's AI killed 3 in 6 minutes with some questionable pathfinding. This testing took an hour, which wasn't enough time for the snail to respawn, so instead I can finally compare farming. The testing will split into 2 parts, 12 hours of solo farming and the remaining 12 with a group of blue hives. Let's start with Natro. These are the settings I'm going to be using. Strictly farming, converting, wealth clock and planters. And now it's AI gathering time. This is my settings page. It comes with token priority, a feature that Natro doesn't have. Basically you choose what type of tokens the bot will desire to pick up first. I believe these are the most important ones for a blue hive. Revolution currently doesn't have hourly report charts, so that's a minus here, but I can check screenshots the macro sent every hour, which is inconvenient, but it's group farming time. In order to farm with a group we need to locate a server. This one, why not? So, results time. This is the total honey gathered in roughly 12 hours by both softwares. And this is the average. I don't know what I expected, but I guess the token AI thing proved that it definitely works. Group farming results. Natro takes an edge here. Maybe this time the AI couldn't see all the tokens because a lot's happening in the fields. Well, I'm not sure, but I'll still give the point to Natro even though it lost the solo farming, because why would you even consider macroing as a solo? Blue will always make more honey with other blues, and that's a fact. It's time to discuss the system load of both the macros. First of all, AI gather only works on 1920 by 1080. Why does this matter? Well, if you're just macroing Roblox normally, it doesn't, but if you're a bit of a macro nerd then you should know about RDP or Remote Desktop, a tool that lets you use your device and macro in the background. You can choose a screen resolution for RDP and Natro works on smaller ones than the default 1920 by 1080. For example, I use 1280 by 1024. The bigger the display you have, the higher the device's energy consumption will be. The Revolution macro is still more resource heavy even if you don't use Remote Desktop if your device is a potato. Just like my old laptop, you will most likely see the performance difference. Running Natro consistently was giving 30 frames per second while Revolution was around 20. If you decide to macro on a better device, you might not notice the gameplay difference, but I still ran hardware tracking tests of each macro to prove my point. There's almost always a bigger number on every Revolution's macro stat. So, Natro is better for lower-end devices and it uses less computer resources. The snail is back from the underworld. Let's see if AI gather and token priority will be faster than an hour and 55 minutes. One more thing, Revolution doesn't actually have a bosses tab, but just like I gave Natro a second chance with stingers, I'll do the same here. I'll simply set it to gather and stump. I'm going to be using these settings I found on Discord. Well, that was surprising. I personally thought that the AI gathering will cut a lot of time out. Maybe this wasn't the same since Stump is a very small field and both the macros don't fail to pick up the important tokens. What do you think? Both get the point and the testing's over. Well, that was an interesting comparison. Does this result say that Natro is bad and you shouldn't use it? No, in fact, here's what my final verdict is. Revolution is definitely better for vicious stingers and Mondo's fruit farming. In my opinion, Natro is still better at farming despite all the AI gather hype. Numbers don't lie. Things like bugruns or questing didn't really change, and that's understandable because you can't improve something that's time-gated. Revolution still lacks many important features such as hourly reports. Only time will tell which is the real winner as Revolution macro is still in its early stages. I can see the AI gather improving a ton still as it can sometimes make stupid decisions. Let me know if there are any more comparisons you could have thought of that I didn't showcase. Plus tell me which side are you on. Will you be a Natro user forever or will you test Revolution macro yourself? If you do, let me know how your test I designed scores. Maybe you'll discover results I did not. Anyways, subscribe and watch any of these videos right here.